Okay, Alzheimer's Killing Podcast, back again. I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
I don't know why, but we had a really hard time getting going this morning.
Yeah, we did.
I'm blaming it on the rain. It's
A little rainy day.
Yeah.
Kind of gloomy.
Yep. So the Midwest, we've been having some dry weather.
Yeah.
We've been I think technically in a drought.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I saw a thing the other day that they were saying up until the end of June, we were like drought conditions.
Yeah.
But we're getting a, 5-6 hour steady
Just
rain.
soak. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's a good rain today.
Yeah, that's why I told Cole, I'm like, this is the epitome of a perfect rain.
Yep. But I don't know why, but it's just making me feel sleepy.
Yeah.
It's making me feel a little tired.
Yeah.
Maybe need a little nappy poo. I don't know why. We've been sitting here trying to get going on this podcast. You wouldn't check the cameras. They've been going for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
We've just been talking about nothingness.
Yeah.
You could do a little recap of that. There's been a couple fun stories that we told about, almost getting attacked by a deer.
Yep.
I don't even know what else we talked about. I don't even know. Moneyball, the movie Moneyball. I love the movie Moneyball. That's been on. I've watched it like 3 nights in a row.
Bad.
Okay. Let's just get right to it.
Yep.
Okay. So what we are talking about today is, I don't know how else to say it except just to say it. The subject is don't let diabetes control your life.
Yeah. And not even really just diabetes.
Yeah.
Anything.
That was what I think we kind of struggle with this title.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in a sense I can relate, but then in a lot of ways not.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to just be diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
It can be whatever type of hurdle physically or mentally that we all go through as human beings.
Yeah.
Don't let it control your life.
Yeah.
And in your circumstance, for those that don't know, and you probably don't, and I think this is a real testament to who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You try not to talk about it very often.
Yeah.
The perfect example of where you try not to talk about it or make people feel conscious about it or just try not to make people where they inherently want to almost kind of feel sorry for you or whatever. We went out to eat with your Uncle Zip. You didn't even probably notice you did this. I noticed it big time. We went out to supper last week with your Uncle Zip. He came here and we did a awesome couple podcasts with him. It was really fun. And he's like, oh, I'll take you guys out for supper. It's like, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one place we're going.
The OP.
Doing the other place.
Yeah.
Because they got good wingy dingies.
Yeah.
But I mixed it up. I got a little chicken barbecue pizza. Hot honey barbecue bacon ranch pizza.
Big curveball.
Big time. It was tasty.
Yeah.
And I got leftovers, which made my wife happy. But when we ordered appetizers, got the mushrooms with a little beer cheese sauce.
Yeah.
And we got drinks. Well, I get a Dr. Pepper. They got a beer or whatever. You got a beer too. But then I think later you were like, hey, could I get a Diet Sprite?
Yeah.
And the gal's like, oh, yeah, sure. She brought it over, and I think you took one slurp of it, and it was like regular Sprite.
Yeah.
And she was still standing there, and you were like, excuse me, can I asked for a Diet Sprite. Can I get a Diet Sprite? And I watched her face, and she was just like, you could tell she was like, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Just drink it.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She was a real nice gal, but you could tell it was kind of, she was like.
She was kind of weirded out by
it. Yeah,
it.
she it almost seemed like, I got the vibe that she kind of felt like you were being really picky.
Yeah.
And so she grabbed it back and she kind of huffed and walked off.
Yeah.
And it was funny because you could have been huffy back.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what, lady? I'm type 1 diabetic. Yeah. I can't drink regular Sprite. I'm sorry, this is regular Sprite.
Yeah.
But you just let it roll right off.
Yeah.
You didn't say a thing. She came back over 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Feel like she took extra long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Uber tip, real tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cash tip. And she came back, she gave you your Diet Sprite. Okay, thanks. And then the night went on.
Yeah.
But I felt like that's a perfect example where, if somebody didn't know, they wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
That you deal with that.
Yeah.
And I think that this title of this podcast is so right on because don't let diabetes control your life.
Yeah.
And inherently, as I've gotten to know you over these last however many months, diabetes is a huge part of your day.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yep.
there's a lot of bells and whistles going on,
Yeah,
right?
a lot.
I mean, you can't see it on this side, but you've got a, what would you call it? It's like a sensor, right?
A sensor, yeah. A glucose monitor, but I just call it a sensor.
Okay. So that's testing the blood sugar.
Blood sugar constantly, yeah.
And then you have a pump in your either left or right-hand pocket.
Yeah, depending on whatever
3-day increment you're on.
Yep. That bad boy.
There you go. That sensor is wirelessly connecting to this, monitoring, telling you, hey, this is what your blood sugar's at.
Yep.
That pump is connected to a hose.
Yeah, a little tubing.
That you have to jab a little.
It's called a cannula.
Needle, plastic needle thing that jams into your side, either your left side or your right side.
Yeah.
For a 3-day period.
Yep.
You take a shower. You unhook it when you take a shower, right?
Yeah, I unhook it when I take a shower.
But then you got to hook right back up.
Right back up. Yeah.
You have to be connected to that
all the time.
basically 24/7.
Yep.
Except for when you're showering.
Yes.
Or maybe in a pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I take it off if I go swimming.
Yeah.
Which is never.
Yeah, never. Like, except for last weekend.
Yeah.
But so then you've got that on your arm. You've got the pump.
Yeah.
You're connected. That's going on one side or the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the pump has got your insulin in it.
Yep.
You have to refill the insulin on how many days?
It's typically like between 2 and 3 days, just depending how much I use.
Okay. So then you have to refill the insulin container inside. And then on top of all that, the sensor going to the pump telling you what's going on, but then you have to also manually determine, or it does it automatically at times, right?
If I eat, I manually do it, but like throughout the day, it'll constantly read it and like say I'm going high. It sends a signal to my pump, and then my pump knows that I'm high, and then my pump has the technology and the capability of giving me little spurts of insulin throughout the day to bring me back down and keep me more level.
Right.
So that is kind of the one cool thing. The technology with it is very advanced and definitely makes life easier, but it's just like a constant everyday thing. I mean,
never stops.
It never ever stops. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas, your birthday, you're on an elk hunt, it don't matter.
Well, dude, the perfect example yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, I had to get home because it's like, hey, got to get home. I got to take kids to swimming lessons, right? So I'm sitting at swimming lessons, just watching them swim around. And you stayed here a little late. You were trying to like just edit some video or something, or like, oh, I'm just going to get this done.
Yeah.
And then I'm back. I get back home, and then you text me, and you're like, just a random thing that if I was dealing with it, I would just be like, oh, okay, no big deal. You couldn't get in your apartment. The screen door was jammed. It was just like you couldn't get it undone.
Yeah.
You called me. You text me like, dude, my front door won't open. I'm like, oh crap. So I call you, and you're like, hey man, I can't get this door open. I'm like, oh okay. And he's like, and you're like, yeah, but I'm low on insulin and I'm going high right now. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. I'm
like, seriously? And you're like, yeah, I'm starting to not feel super good.
Yeah.
It's like, crap. So now all of a sudden there's this internal clock going on.
Yeah.
And your body, you're going high, which makes you feel real sluggish and sick.
Yeah.
So you need to get your insulin.
Yeah.
And then your blood pressure's rising because of that. You can't get the stupid door open.
Yeah.
It's just like, it just makes things harder.
Yeah. Every single thing is just a little bit harder because it's just another thing that you have to constantly be thinking about.
Yeah.
Because it is really wild. Like you were saying, like I have to have it on all the time. Like if there's a time, like, I mean, there's been times like where, you know, there's so much on your mind, and sometimes like, which it's not good, but there's some times where like I'll take it out for my shower and I always just set it on my desk right by my bed, and I'll just get out of the shower, change, and I'll just be doing something. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I don't have my freaking pump on. And then I look at my phone and my blood sugar's high. Like if you don't have it on for a little bit, it spikes really, really fast. So like in a case like yesterday, it's like, crap, dude. Like what do I do if I can't get in where my insulin is?
Break the window.
Yeah, you know what I
Break
mean?
the door
It's
down.
like,
I mean, it's like crazy.
yeah, it's just like I don't know. It really sucks.
Yeah.
And it's funny though, because like you can live with it for sure.
Right.
Like you can do anything you want with it, but it just takes a lot more.
Well, and I think what you said there is key, and I think that's the whole point of this discussion. I think what I really want to keep coming back to is, I think that's what I notice in you is you can do what you just said right there.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You just can't let it control you.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to make the conscious decision on a day-to-day basis to go, okay, this isn't going to control my life.
Yeah.
And it can.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're kind of feel like we're getting a little bit of the cart in front of the horse, and if you want to kind of go into this, and I'll just kind of lead you into it. You haven't been a type 1 diabetic your whole life.
Yeah. So, I'll kind of tell that a little bit. So,
which I feel like that's kind of insane because you lived pre-diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw the sunnier side of the hill for a long time that like most people just take for granted every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I'm kind of a unique case. In adults, if there's a diabetes diagnosis, only 5% are type 1. And when I was 18, I was 2 weeks before high school graduation, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So it was kind of a weird deal. Like it really isn't supposed to, it's kind of, I don't want to say rare case, but it's a different case.
Mm-hmm.
But it made it really hard because I lived 18 years of my life without it. And I knew what it was like to just be able to go and have a donut, not worry about it. I knew what it was like to go hunting and not worry about anything. You just get up and go.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed at 18, and obviously that's a really tough time because I was getting ready to go to college, and so I basically learned diabetes while I was trying to learn college, and it was a really, really tough time. Definitely made that transition really hard. But it was kind of a big time for me because I was kind of on my own for the first time. I wasn't with my parents, and it was like, are you going to let this keep happening? Are you going to keep being unhealthy and, letting it kind of control you? Or are you going to be a man and not let it control you? And that's just kind of the way I've been trying to live. Like I don't want to be known as the guy with diabetes, really, I want to be known as the badass with diabetes who can do whatever he wants. So it's like, I don't know. I just kind of had a big time realization that it's like, you can still do stuff with it. You just have to, take the time and effort to be more prepared, more organized with everything. And it is really hard. I mean, I think that's why I'm disorganized as a whole, because I got so much crap on my mind.
Yeah.
But, so that's kind of the moral of the story today, because your mind and body is an amazing thing, and you can do whatever the hell you want. So I guess we'll kind of get into it a little bit more.
Well, I think what you just said there for me hits the nail on the head is your mind and your body is such an amazing thing, but your mind is such an amazing thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, when I hear you talk about diabetes, for me, what I can relate to is I think about running.
Yeah.
It's been, I've got quite the dad bod right now, but years ago I still really enjoy running. I enjoy running in the way that I like the adventure of it. I like the challenge of it.
Yeah.
But I really hate running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like it's super fun.
Yeah.
Like go out and run and struggle along and feel like your legs are cramping up and you can't breathe and your chest gets heavy. But that's what your body is doing.
Yeah.
Physically what's going on.
Yep.
But your mind can overcome that.
Yeah.
Do you follow
Without
me?
a doubt. Yep.
And I feel like that's what I think is so fun to see in what you're doing is your body is constantly fighting against you.
Yeah.
And you mentally, you overcome it. You're just like, okay, dude, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Just like running, like, man, I'm tired. I want to stop. But you're in your mind, you could say, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't like it.
Yeah.
We're going this way.
Yeah.
Like, you can kick and scream all you want.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a constant battle.
Yeah. And sometimes, honestly, I lose that battle.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes I have to stop for 10, 15 minutes.
Yep. Like we noticed that happened. I haven't seen that very often in you where you just you're like where the physical part where you're just like, hey, dude, I have to stop right now.
Yeah.
When we went out and set that tree stand.
Yeah.
That Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
We went out. We drove pretty much as far as we could, and then we had to just walk not too far, carry all the gear in there. It was hot.
Yeah. Really hot.
Yep. It was super hot. And I started hanging the ladder and I was climbing up and down and you were kind of helping grab stuff. And it was just kind of like all of a sudden a switch just flipped. I was almost to the point where we were done.
Yeah.
And you were just like, dude, I got to sit down. And you could just see it.
Yeah.
And it made me kind of nervous because, like, you know, I'm like, all right, dude, like, are you okay? And you're like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I'll be fine. I'm like, I just need some water. So I'm like, run back truck, got you some extra water.
Yeah.
And you were going high, right?
Low.
Oh, you were going low.
Low.
And then you were going low, then you ate, and then you thought that would bring you up, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of like stayed low.
Yeah. A lot of times, yeah. So a low blood sugar is essentially when you have either too much insulin, because insulin brings your blood sugar down. So it basically means you have either too much insulin, like you could overcorrect for something that you ate, or when your body is just burning calories, burning carbs, everything, and you just basically overwork it, then your body doesn't have enough, you know, food or anything in you to keep you high again. So you go low, so you need to get sugar. And lows are quite a bit more serious. You just feel way more sick, and it can kind of get out of hand a little bit easier. A high is kind of like a slow kind of deal, but a low blood sugar, you got to really kind of act quick. But yeah, so basically you just feel like really like just crap. Like I can't even explain it. Like you just feel really bad. So you got to get sugar in you really quick. But what happens a lot of times, like I think that day we had been going for a while, and I think it was after work maybe. I can't remember.
No, it was on a weekend. It was on a Sunday.
It was, yes. It was on a Sunday.
But I think we had gone to the other spot first, and we're doing that, and then we're like, oh, we'll just go to this one last.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like if you don't have a protein with you, because I think it was like a day where I didn't eat much or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have protein with you, I use these little gel sugar things or whatever.
That tastes like snot.
Oh God, they're terrible, but they work really well. It'll bring you back up, but then it's not enough, and it'll just dump you right again. And so it'll just kind of keep going up and down until you eat again. And so that was kind of one of those days where it's like it was just too much, and there's just nothing you can do about it. You just kind of wait it out, and but like those are the times that just suck because I'm doing something that I love,
and then it totally stops you.
Yeah, and that's like the big reminder, like, oh, yep, you still have to deal with this. Don't matter how much fun you're having.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
no, and and like I said, I've seen that here at the office. There'll be every once in a while. You know, you're not like a hot-headed type person. You don't get like a temper, right? You don't like lose your, like fly off the handle.
Yeah.
But there are times when you'll get frustrated and you'll be like, man, I hate diabetes. You're just like, gosh, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
Your pump gets an air bubble or something in it, or it's not reading correctly, and all of a sudden you have to switch out stuff, and it's like right when we're on a call or we're trying to look at a video or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like having to stop.
Yeah.
And you're like, I have to do this right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's when you just get super frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. Because it seems like that type of stuff where you actually have to take 15 minutes to do something is always when you have something else to do in that 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you could kind of describe a little bit, and even just so people understand the difference between a normal person that doesn't have diabetes like me and a person that does have diabetes, a type 1, what the difference would be.
Yep.
What does that mean? Because obviously from my redneck understanding is when I eat sugar, when I eat carbs, when I eat normal food, if I go out for lunch, my body, obviously when you eat carbs, carbs are sugar, and that's glucose, right?
Yep, essentially. Yep.
And that what it does is it's going to spike in your body.
Yep.
And when that spikes, those sugars, your body naturally will grab that first.
Exactly.
If you eat too much carbs, you eat too much stuff, like a lot of us do, you eat too much, then your body will try to store it as fat.
Yeah.
And then that's how you gain weight.
Yep.
And so what we all inherently, not everybody, but a lot of people do is they eat carbs throughout the day.
Yeah.
They don't just kind of eat it for breakfast, then kind of take a break. Then.
Yeah.
So what happens is your sugar, your glucose is spiking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my body produces insulin naturally to balance that. It's almost like when your body, when you eat all that sugar, it goes like this, then the insulin comes back and balances it out.
Exactly.
So it does that naturally.
Yep.
Same thing as if I physically go low, where all of a sudden, let's just say I fast for a full day and I just cut out everything and I don't have any carbs, and all of a sudden my body's looking for something for energy. It's looking for those carbs.
Yep.
It needs it. If I don't have it, my body can naturally adjust
and
it will go and grab what it's got in reserve
Exactly.
and go, hey, here you go.
Yep.
And then if you fast long enough, then all of a sudden you start to lose weight.
Yep.
Right? It's, your body goes the other way.
Yep.
And then my body can naturally balance it out.
Yep.
Yours can't do that.
Yeah. So what controls all that is your pancreas.
Okay.
Your pancreas secretes insulin and basically is I don't even know what you would call it, but basically your pancreas is what levels you out constantly. Never stops working. My pancreas does not work at all. My pancreas is completely dead. And my pancreas is my pump now. And so it's 110% on me, how level I am throughout the day. So that's the big glaring difference, is the fact that your pancreas works and mine does not.
Yep.
So you are constantly level. If you slapped on my glucose monitor right now, you would be pretty much dead straight throughout the day. Mine is all over heck.
Up and down.
All
Yeah,
over heck.
you either are going like this or you're going like this. It
Yeah.
never seems like you're just staying level.
Yeah.
You're either always going up or down. Whenever I see you look at it,
Yeah,
or you
which
pull out
is-
your phone, it's always up or down or up or down.
Yeah, and that's, I'll be the first to tell you there's better diabetics than me. There's a lot of times where, I kind of let it go a little bit, one way or the other, which is probably not good, but given the fact of what we do, there's a lot of times we're on the go, we're eating not really what I should eat and whatnot. So it does get a little bit crazy, but it's been a lot better as of recent. It feels like I feel really good, but another thing I want to talk about is the difference between type 1 and type 2.
Yeah, because there's a lot of confusion with that too.
Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that conversation that you've had with people
Yeah.
a dozen times since I've been around each other.
Yeah.
Like people have the misconception that type 1 is just like type 2.
Yeah.
And it's like completely different.
Yeah, it's way different. I wish they would even call it something else, because like you'll always get the comment, "Oh, what did you just eat too much sugar as a kid?" It's like, no, it's totally different.
Yeah.
So type 2 is where you essentially overwork your pancreas, and it's working but not working correctly. So then the way I look at it is you have to eat to what your pancreas is giving out. So you just have to change your diet, and you can essentially get it to where you don't even have it anymore. There's a lot of cases where they have type 2 diabetes, completely change their diet, and they can live a normal life without any of this crap.
Yep.
But type 1 is your pancreas is completely dead, so you have to completely monitor it all your own.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference there,
Big
huge
time.
difference. And a lot of times type 2, it can be caused by how you eat. If you eat like crap forever, you're going to overwork your pancreas, and that leads to type 2. Type 1, it kind of just happens. So
Yeah.
that's a big difference there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes, like I said, even when I started to be around you, I knew the difference between type 1
Yeah.
and type 2. My grandpa got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes
Yeah.
later in life,
Yeah.
like in his 70s and his
Yeah.
80s. It was funny because I always thought he was a pretty healthy guy.
Yeah.
And I think he was.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just, I don't know the medical side of this.
Yeah.
If there is something that when as you get older, it's more prevalent. I think it is, right?
Yeah. And it's very hereditary too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which really sucks for me because
Yeah.
I hope it's on my dad's side or something because that's my mom's side. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah. Like you said, it's if you're eating carbs and sugar your whole life at this level, your body, your pancreas, for a while will keep up. But then eventually it's just like, hey, I can't keep doing this, and it starts to come down here.
Yep.
But you keep eating at this level,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden, hey, guess what? You're type 2 diabetic.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you need to change your diet and go, hey, I need to bring it down here, and I need to just eat healthier.
Yeah.
And have a more balanced diet where it's not just breads and pastas and all the fun, good, yummy stuff. It's more the greens and the proteins and the fats and leveling yourself out.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to. I hope I didn't sound like I was saying type 2 isn't serious, because it is very serious.
No,
it's
I didn't.
very serious.
I didn't feel like that.
Yeah. So it's like I'm not taking anything away from it, but I just wanted to say that there is a pretty big difference between it.
Right.
For sure.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and I feel like the thing that I want to keep coming back to as we discuss all this is what I feel like I'm going to say. I probably already said, and I will say it again and again through this whole thing is, if there's anybody listening to this or watching this, and you're dealing with something like this, I feel like what you've gone through is a perfect example where you're just not letting it control you.
Yeah.
You're not going to let it stop you.
Yeah.
Don't let it stop you.
Yeah.
If there's anything, the moral of the story to this conversation today is, I hope that this is motivation
Yeah.
to not let it stop you. Whatever you may be working through mentally or physically,
Yeah.
whatever hurdles or things that you're trying to overcome,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Our mind is a very powerful thing.
Yep.
It is. And for every force, there's an equal and opposite force. And for whatever you're going through, you can push back on that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's been really fun and motivating for me, getting to know you and seeing it not control you.
Yeah.
You not letting it control you.
Yeah.
And continue to do stuff.
Yeah.
Is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I think the epitome of that is what we have coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
We're less than 2 months out now from going to Idaho elk hunting.
Yep.
I have a good friend named Randy Stoppenhagen. I met him years ago out on the road at consumer shows, and we became friends. And he actually invited me elk hunting. I went elk hunting with him in 2019, and now I'm going back again. And it just worked out that we worked it out that you're gonna be there with me filming it.
Yep.
So we're gonna do it for Ozonics and be using the kinetic packs, be using the HR 500s.
Yep.
Because obviously when it comes to elk hunting deer, when it comes to elk hunting, when you start communicating with those elk, they're going to come in, they're going to circle down when they want to smell what they're seeing or hearing.
Yep.
And also one of the kind of unique things is that Randy sits in tree stands.
Yeah.
He actually hunts tree stands in the morning,
Yeah.
and then he hunts, and then he does more of the spot stalking in the afternoons,
Yeah.
calling and trying to move in on them.
Yeah.
So, the ozonics can be really conducive to sitting in a tree stand because we're going to be sitting on a ridge where that thermal is going to be moving up and down. And obviously those elk are trying to stay in front or behind that, depending on what the thermals are doing. And so the ozonics is going to really come in handy. So it's been kind of a really unique friendship and relationship that Randy and I have.
Yeah.
And so then we're going back. But even having you go to Idaho wasn't just like hey, you want to go to Idaho? Yeah, I want to go to Idaho. Okay, well, let's get it approved through the channels we need to at Ozonics. It wasn't just that easy.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing to talk about is we've talked about your sensor, we've talked about your pump, we've talked about the whatever that needly thing in your side of your waist is that switches every 3 days.
Yeah.
You got to put more insulin in your pump every 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the two other big things is you're on a 30-day insulin schedule.
Yep.
And you're on a 90-day diabetes equipment schedule.
Yep.
Which, hearing about this, honestly, sorry for what I'm about to say, it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is hard for you to get.
Yeah, super hard.
From my perspective, hearing you talk about it, and then just my Googling that I've done, it's gotten hard to get because there's a lot of people that abuse it.
Yeah.
That get 2 months insulin and then try to sell it.
Yep.
Get the equipment, the needles, the things that can be used for the wrong purposes and sell it.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden, people like you that are just trying to live your life and just do the right thing, and you have a history of doing the right thing, you're not abusing it at all. You have a heck of a time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very strict on when you can and cannot get it. I can't just call up the pharmacy and be like, hey, I need insulin. You have to wait your 30 days to get it, and you have to wait your 90 days to get the equipment. And the equipment isn't through the pharmacy; it's straight through the company who makes it and sells the stuff. So that alone is kind of tough because it has to be shipped. I can't just go to Walmart and grab it. Well, like Cole was saying, the equipment is on a 90-day schedule, and the insulin is on a 30. And it just so happens that the 90-day, which is always the tougher one to get, falls right when we're in Idaho.
Right when we're going to be there.
Right in the center of it.
So then you have to call your doctor.
Yep.
Hey, this is what I do for work. I'm going to be gone.
Yep.
Can we work something out so I can get my equipment shipment early? So I'll have it. Then because I'm going to be going to Idaho. Then I'm going to go into Montana.
Yep.
And also what we're not even talking about is before you go to Idaho, a month before, you're going to be here in a couple weeks. You leave to go filming an axis hunt with Scott and Buddy, and then you're going to go nilgai hunting.
Yeah.
So you've got this window between the two. Can I get stuff shipped early?
Yep.
And then it's like, from my perspective, hearing you on the call, it's almost like you're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
Then you have to walk it all back and explain yourself to the umpteenth degree.
Yep.
Just to get the stuff.
Yeah. And so it's the process is, you call the doctor, and then you like all the insurance, and then it's just a huge headache.
Jeez.
It is just terrible. And it's like, and it is really hard because like I've never really traveled for hunting and filming, you know? And so like that already is kind of stressing me out a little bit just because it's something I've never done.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden all this is a major added stressor, you know? So, but I think we'll get it figured out. I think we'll be all right.
I feel like we have worked it out where you'll be able to get your equipment early.
Yep.
And then you had to even get a new doctor because you're living in North Iowa now, not in Wisconsin.
Yep.
So you have to have a doctor here. And the doctors that deal with diabetics are there's a name for the doctor.
Endocrinologist.
Okay, endocrinologist. You have to have a new endocrinologist. So you got a new doctor here in Mason City.
Yep.
And so it sounds like worked it out. So you'll be able to get your insulin supply.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
Well, dude, that's even a funny thing. I don't know if you really want to talk about this or not, but I'm going to bring it up. Again, you inherently are not, you're not like you and I are very similar in the fact that like what we're similar on is we're both very passionate about what we do. When it comes to hunting, I mean, that's like the common, you know, if we're playing a guitar, that's the chord that we both, you know, that's the chord that gets strung when between the two of us. I'm more like, I'm a little hotter. I run a little hotter, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just how I am. I'm kind of high strung.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like always go, whatever. Like, not that you're not go, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, 100%.
You're more just kind of like, you kind of laid back, right?
Yeah.
Like I could kind of like push you and you'll just like kind of take it. You know, that's just kind of how you are.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is when it comes to your diabetes, you don't get pushed around at all.
Yeah.
You don't take nothing. Dude, it's so funny to see how you like flip a switch and you kind of, dude, it's crazy. With your doctor here that you met with, first time you met with him, he just, for whatever reason, whether it must have been he was having a bad day or he was just trying, he was busy and was just trying to get a lot in and just wasn't giving you kind of the personal touch and the attention and perspective like he should have.
Yeah.
And you put him in his place.
Yeah. Yeah. I got pretty mad. He was just treating me like a 2-year-old.
Yeah. He was basically like, well, you need to do this and this. And he just like, it's like he wasn't even really.
Yeah. He came right in and he goes, well, what are you snacking on? I'm like, what? He's like, what's your main snack? I'm like, I don't know. A couple chips maybe. I don't know. He's like, well, you can't do that and you can't be having sugars, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? Like I've been a diabetic for 5 years now, 6 years,
6.
And I'm like, okay, this is just not starting out good. You know, I like it. I've had only like one doctor actually ask me like, okay, what do you do? You know, what's your daily schedule? Like what are you doing? What's your job? And get to know me a little bit, you know, because it is important because I think I'm kind of a unique case. I feel like, you know, last year with what I did at Midwest Whitetail, you know, it was very, very long hours. Always going, not having time to, you know, cook a good home meal, which all things are not the greatest for diabetes. Like the biggest thing is sleep and what you eat.
Yeah, it's almost like, you trying to get good rest and then trying to not have to always eat processed foods, which is obviously inherently high in sugar, high in carbs, is the glucose through the roof.
Yeah.
And so when you're just like running all the way open, eating Casey's pizza all the time.
Yeah.
Like that's all you can find. That's tough.
Yeah. And so when a doctor looks at that, instantly that guy's first thought was, oh, he's eating like crap. But it should have been, I wonder what this guy does for a job. I wonder what this guy does for a living. Because it does matter. I mean, I could have picked a 9 to 5 where I sit at a desk all day and I go home every single night at the same exact time and I can make a meal. My numbers would probably be way better. But I don't do that. You know? And so, I just kind of told him, I said, I hope this conversation changes real quick because I'm about to get up and walk out. I said, the way that you approach this is terrible. And it's very disrespectful to me. And I said, I don't appreciate how this is going. And
dropping the mic.
Yeah, well,
you were like, dude, here's the deal.
I was so mad.
And this is like the dog coming out because that is not how you normally are.
I was just
because I give you a hard time, dude. There's times that I just like sometimes I poke you a little bit for fun, and you never get like that. When you said to me that, I was like, you said that? And you're like, yeah, dude. And I was like, Dang.
I was like shaking mad at the guy. I was so mad. And it was good. He instantly stopped and said he apologized. And I understood where he was coming from. He said typically people in their 20s they just don't care about diabetes.
Yeah.
And they just let it they are just so unhealthy. But like, I care about it. I know about it. I try and do the absolute best I can with it. And I think there's just a lot of people that he works with that are the exact opposite and are just kind of have a effort mentality about it.
Yeah.
And they just really let it, basically kill them.
Well, and I think you're trying to find the balance, right? Because you don't want, to your point, you could be in a totally different profession where it's almost like you have to live, if you want to live where diabetes is super not affecting you at all, you have to live a very controlled, balanced lifestyle. And being a videographer and doing what you do at Ozonics, that's not that.
Yeah.
That's not that at all.
Yeah.
And so, but this is what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And you don't want diabetes to control your life in that way. So it's like you have to find the happy medium.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I'm maybe taking a hit on my overall health, but like the hunting and stuff and the filming is like where I completely feel at peace. And it's like, I feel like that's super important with what I'm dealing with. Like if I find something that I'm really passionate about where I can just go do and just be like, okay, yep, this is amazing. Whereas if I was working a 9 to 5, I would be hating my job. I'd be hating my life after, probably still dealing with diabetes and stuff. But like with what I'm doing now, it's like, it's kind of the perfect balance, I think, because like I truly love what I'm doing right now, and I'm very blessed to be able to do it. And I'm still doing it and controlling my diabetes pretty well, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about too, is like I grew up when I was in high school, I was a pretty good athlete. I really wanted to play college sports. Obviously, when this all happened, I couldn't because it just happened at a terrible time. And that's where I really found my passion in hunting, because it was something that I could do, when you're just going up and sitting in a tree stand. I mean, there's stuff to it that's work, obviously, like you do in everything. But once I got in the stand, it was just such a breath of fresh air, just to be able to just soak everything in and just be able to sit. And, I'm not doing anything too rigorous, so my blood sugars stay pretty good. And that's where I really was like, man, I do really love this, and I'm super passionate about it. So like once I got it that first fall after, it really made me realize how much I love the hunting. And so I think that's one thing that's kind of cool about it, because it really opened up my eyes to other things that you can do in life, whether it be fishing or hunting. And like those are the two things that I really got really into once I got...
I'm sorry. No,
you're good. Those are the two things that I really got into once I kind of got diabetes, because there was things that I could do. And, like if I went and played a basketball game or something, I'd probably have 14 million lows, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, those are the things that
maybe half court basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just a game of pig or something.
Yeah.
But like those things like really were a big thing for me, because it was something that I could do and it wouldn't affect the diabetes too much. So yeah, it's been really cool, because it's crazy. Like God has a plan for everything, for everyone. It's like, this is God's plan for me. Like instantly I started getting into it more. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, I just got an internship where I got into cameras.
Yeah.
And then I started filming, and I like, holy crap, like I really like this a lot. And I could maybe, make a living out of it. And now here we are.
Yeah.
So it's been quite the freaking journey, man.
Yeah.
It's been wild, but it's just been awesome. And, there's a lot of people in my life that I wouldn't be here if I didn't have them. People like you, Zip, obviously my parents, college roommates, good buddies from back home. And everybody's been super cool, super supportive. And, you can't do anything if you don't have a good support system. And I got that. So,
yeah. Well, I think that's why the elk hunt is going to be such a fun thing, because even when when I first met you in this last winter, we're going to Harrisburg, going to some of the consumer shows, and Randy was with us. Yeah. He was helping at the shows all winter. We started talking about elk hunting a lot.
Yeah.
And you were kind of talking about being diagnosed and
yeah,
still and loving and finding this passion for bow hunting and hunting, and and you made a couple comments different times. You're like, man, I feel like going on an elk hunt would be like the ultimate, thing for me. That feels like that'd be the top of the mountain.
Oh yeah.
Something that like I've dreamed about, but I don't know if that would ever be possible with my diabetes.
100%.
And because there's just a lot more to it. And I'm not just in one place, not moving around. I'm at higher elevation and it's with altitude and just, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's going to be so fun about this elk hunt is obviously on any hunting trip, the idea is we want to try to harvest something.
Yeah.
But I think what I've always hung my hat on, for the last, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
It's more than just about harvesting something.
Yep.
It's about the adventure.
Exactly.
It's about the fact that, like your house could burn down and the mounts that you've got, it's just all ash.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What really matters is the memories that you make, the people that you do it with. And I think from my perspective, I don't know why I keep thinking about this, but I feel like there's going to be a really fun conversation that's going to be had when we're flying back from Idaho.
Yeah.
Because by that time, the hunt will be over.
Yep.
We either will or won't have an elk.
Yep.
But what I feel like I know that we will have is some awesome memories made.
Yep.
And from my perspective, you will have checked something off of your list.
Yep.
And you'll be kind of looking back at this mountain that you you're like, I went to the top of that.
Yep.
And I made it through. And screw you, diabetes.
Yeah.
I'm still here, and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to be so fun about that elk hunt is no matter how it actually works out, it's going to be successful.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's like the one thing too. Like it's been my dream to go on an elk hunt forever, and once I got diabetes, I was like, oh crap, how the hell is this ever going to work out? And it's like, man, we're doing it.
Yeah,
and it's going to be freaking awesome. I cannot wait.
Well, and like we were just talking to that. I was in a conversation with Scott on the phone a while back. He just so happened to call, and we were talking about. It was funny because he totally went dad mode.
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, so has this Idaho thing, and have you been in discussion with Nick about how that's going to work?" And I'm like, "Yep, Scott, we've been having a lot of discussion for a long time trying to figure this all out." And I say we loosely. Nick's been talking to his doctors, talking to his insurance. We should be able to get the equipment he needs. He'll have enough insulin. We'll hit everything at the right time. So he'll have everything he needs while we're there. And he's like, okay. And Scott's like, man, that's going to be a really, really neat thing. That's going to be kind of a really cool story and angle to that whole hunt. Just the fact of, and he kind of made a comment offhand about, friendship and freedom.
Yeah.
And I think that just like you said, I have noticed, and gotten to be around your mom and dad and hearing your friendship and your relationship with your Uncle Zip. And even how, there's times I feel like you need somebody to lean on here.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to do everything I can.
Yep.
It's like I have 5 kids, but I kind of feel like you're not young enough to be my kid. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like I notice myself going straight into dad mode.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can't get into my apartment. Hey, I need this. And I'm just like, jump in the car. Let's go. Like I just feel like I try to help.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be fun to see how the friendship comes in handy when we're elk hunting, and then just you feeling that freedom from going, I'm not letting this control my life.
Exactly. Yeah, and you really need that too. Like, you need to have obviously we're going to be talking about this elk hunt because it's like the perfect example of this whole conversation. But like, you need people there that understand what is going on, and so like everything that you just said, like really helps with all that because I think you do understand what I am dealing with. And that really helps because it kind of gives me like a peace of mind a little bit too. Like when we're out there, like if I was just going out there and I was like filming some random guy, I'd be really freaking out, but it really helps that like you kind of understand it, know, which it'll make it way easier that way. But yeah,
it's going to be pretty crazy,
dude. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing I've been thinking about right now. I just can't wait.
I know. And then Randy, he's been like, he actually just texted me right before we started doing this. He's got trail cams up, cell cams up, and there was an elk that walked by.
Yeah.
Sounds like right in that area.
Yeah.
In where he has the tree stand set where we'll be sitting in the mornings.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really, really neat. It's going to be really fun because it's going to be neat. It's going to be so awesome for you just because you've never been to Idaho.
Yeah.
You've never really been in the mountains like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done a lot of snowmobiling and like backcountry snowmobiling in the wintertime.
Yep.
But again, like August, September
Yeah.
is just so much different than that.
Yeah.
So being in that place and then just the peace and the calm and everything about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun to see your reaction.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know how I'm going to react. Like, I just can't wait.
Oh, you're probably going to be like, just like everybody is, you're going to be just wide-eyed.
Yeah.
You're just like, holy crap, are we here right now?
Yeah.
And dude, it's funny. What I always notice about those things, all of a sudden, it just feels like it's like warp speed, and it's like wham, boom, and you're there.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like we're gonna just go. All of a sudden, we're gonna be jumping in my truck and we're driving to the airport.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we're gonna be like pulling onto a level B road,
Yeah.
going up.
Yeah.
And you're gonna look at people like, okay, this just got super real. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know, or we're gonna pull into where the camper is, or we're gonna walk away from the side by side and hiking up a mountain, and you're like, how did we get here?
Yeah. Like, what is this?
I was just at my house yesterday. You know, I was like in my bed yesterday. Now I'm standing in the middle of the mountains.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes on those hunts you realize how technologically advanced that we are.
Oh, yeah.
That you can go and you can drive your vehicle 75 miles an hour down an interstate to a airport that's 300 miles away, but you got there in 2 hours. And then you jump on a plane that weighs thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of steel and metal and jet fuel.
Yep.
And it somehow takes off the ground. It goes 600 miles an hour through the atmosphere, flies you halfway across the continent. Feels like, you know, you land and then you're like, okay, I'm 3,000 miles away from my house right now.
Yeah.
It's like 7 hours later.
Chasing some bugling bulls.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. But again, I'm going to come back to what I said earlier. I just really hope that if somebody's listening to this and they've got type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, they have any sort of disability, any sort of anything that's holding them back, don't let it hold you back.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, this whole discussion is not in any way, and I don't even think I need to say this, but I'm saying it anyway. We're not sitting here discussing to try to feel sorry for you at all.
Yeah, no.
You don't want that.
No.
You know what I mean?
God, no.
It's just the idea of, I really think, and when we talked about doing this podcast, I was like, I really want to talk about this because I think it can motivate people.
Yeah, 100%.
It can give people drive and determination
Yeah.
to go, you know what? I'm going to use that as a great example, and that's going to motivate me to change what I do and to go out and do something that, like, I thought I was going to have to leave in my rearview mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's, like I said, it's been a freaking journey, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wild to look at the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty lucky to be here. I feel like this is like the perfect spot for it.
Yeah.
It's just like really good balance and good people, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too, it's interesting too, you know, it's kind of like, what I was about to say is, it's been funny how when we've been out and about, you'll notice people that are diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a couple buddies that really are into conceal and carrying.
Yeah.
And I conceal and carry every once in a while, but I don't do it very often. But it's funny, once you start to conceal and carry, you'll notice other people concealing and carrying. You're like, that guy's carrying.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. And I feel like when we were at Harrisburg, you're like, that guy right there is diabetic. And I was like, what? He's like, I just saw his cord for his pump.
Yeah.
You're like, really? And you catch it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like my roommate and one of my best friends from college, his name is Malachi. Shout out Malachi. He's actually from Idaho.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Or not from Idaho. He just moved to Idaho. But he would always be like, you should go talk to him. Go talk to him. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Do not want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so weird with it. I just don't like talking about it too much.
Right. It is funny how, like, type 1 diabetics, it's a very private thing. Yeah. It affects your life in such a huge way, but I feel like a lot of people kind of march through that by themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Does that make sense?
Definitely. Yeah, and there's a lot of things, like when I went to college and stuff, it was through the disabilities program. Great people. They're just amazing people, but they had a bunch of groups and stuff like that. And there was a group of 4 or 5 diabetics or whatnot, and they were really pushing me to go in and talk to them, and it wasn't for me. I just didn't want to. I don't know. I just kind of want to just kind of do it on my own a little bit.
But I will say to the devil's advocate to that is I think what I've noticed and realized as I've gotten to know you more is that, you know, there is a physical toll that this takes on you, right?
Yeah.
But I think that it also can mentally wear you down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah.
It can mentally wear you down.
That was the big thing when I was in the hospital, right when I got it. That was like the big thing that they said. They're like, it's a physical thing, but it's close to a mental disability too, because it just, every time your thing beeps, it's just a big time reminder, and it's just a...
And you were kind of at the time, I remember you've told me you're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And now I feel like you definitely feel that,
that
the mental part of it more than you ever have.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time. I think it's because now that I'm on my own too, you know, normally if I'm with my roommates from college who understood it really well, and they're like my best friends because of it, helped me through a lot of things. And obviously my parents, if I was having a rough night or something, I could go just kind of hang out with them and it would help a lot. But now that I'm by myself, it's more of a, you know, hard reminder that you have it and you're dealing with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you got buddies that are right there 30 steps down the hallway, it's kind of nice.
When you're sitting at your apartment and you can't get the door open and you're beeping because you're low.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, here we go.
Well,
when before I would have a buddy sitting right there and we could talk and
figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes it trickier.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Your mom's going to listen to this podcast and it's going to make her blood pressure skyrocket.
Oh, she's fine.
she knows. She's a warrior.
Oh, yeah, she is big time. She'll be fine.
Oh.
But yeah. You can do whatever you want.
Yep. Don't let it control you.
Yep.
Like I said, it's interesting. The only way that I can even come close to, and it doesn't even come close, but that I can understand what you're going through is I have this thing with my hands. It's called Raynaud's phenomenon.
Yeah.
I've heard it's pronounced different ways, but basically I have really bad circulation in my hands.
Yeah.
And my feet, which really sucks because I love to go hunting.
Yeah.
So it's like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I got to have bad circulation. And I won't try to show it because it looks a little creepy, but if you look at the end of your fingers, you've got like the meat on the end of your fingers.
Yeah.
And I don't have that.
Finger pads.
Yeah, I don't have like the pads of my fingers. It's just there's not much there.
Yeah.
Kind of makes even my fingernails, when you really stop and really look at them, look kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I got it when I was in high school. I got all my fingers, I got these terrible sores. My skin started to pull away from my nail.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, dude, I had these bloody sores on all my fingers to the point where I could like barely hold a pencil.
Yeah.
I couldn't type. And then they wouldn't let me play sports. So it was my summer of my junior year of high school, and they wouldn't let me play sports. I'm like, dude, you got to let me play sports.
Yeah.
Like, nope, you can't play. So then I ended up jimmying away with this big padded thing. I put it like this on my hand so nothing could touch them.
Yeah.
And I wrapped these big pads around my hand. I played the last like 4 or 5 games of the season, and I had these look like mittens.
Yeah.
Literally, I could only play defense because I
Yeah.
could tackle, but I couldn't grab things.
Yeah.
I could just hit.
Yeah.
So I got to play defense, but I still deal with that.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, you'll see me this fall. I've got hand warmers coming out the wazoo. I should buy stock in hand warmers because seriously, I've always got hand warmers.
Yeah.
It's just a constant like battle.
Yeah.
I'm constantly just like trying to keep my hands warm all the time. It never stops.
Yeah. Well, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have some kind of a hurdle to get over, but
Not going to stop me.
yeah, you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out and make the most of it. And that's exactly what you do, whether it be packing 10 packs of hand warmers or something.
Yep.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but you're still doing it. You can still do what you love.
Yep. And actually, that's kind of funny thing. That's actually how part of the reason Randy and I became such good buddies. He's got that insulated bow mitt.
Yep.
And I saw that. I was like, hey, I would totally use that.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Like, because when my hand gets the coldest is when I'm trying to hold the bow.
Right.
You know, it's like I keep my hand in my hand warmer pockets the whole time.
Yep.
But when I take that out, grab my bow, it's just I can feel like this mental timer.
Yeah.
I always call it banana fingers.
Yeah.
When your fingers start to feel like bananas because
Yeah.
they're all numb and they're cold. It's just this thing.
Yeah.
And now I can grab my bow. I've got a hand warmer in the bow mitt, and it just keeps my hand just that little bit. It keeps that bite off of it.
Yep.
But But yeah, it's just a constant thing.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, there's just everybody's got something that they're dealing with.
Every single person.
Yeah. And like I said, I just hope that this is just a great example. And I just want to use this whole podcast as a way to just anybody that's listening, don't let it stop you.
Yeah.
Don't let it stop you. You know, there's your body and your mind, and your body can really suck sometimes.
Yeah.
But your mind can overcome it.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep. And you know, you just have to don't let your body stop you.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Keep getting after it.
Yep. That's the biggest thing.
You know?
Yep.
So, and like I said, dude, I really appreciate you talking about this day, because I know it's a very personal thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a super personal thing, and there could be who knows what random person's watching this that you have no idea about.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that if this was reversed, and I probably wouldn't talk about this.
Yeah.
Because that's just how I am.
Yeah.
I'm very, you know,
Yeah.
I kind of keep things at arm's
Yeah.
length. But I think it's pretty awesome, and I commend you for being willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
And again, I think that the whole idea is that who knows, like the man or woman or boy or girl
Yeah.
that might see this and go, you know what, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to motivate me. I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Well, and that's like you were saying, the whole point of that is like, yeah, I don't like talking about it like at all. Like I just don't like talking about it. But if it does find the right person, I think that's pretty dang cool.
Mm-hmm.
And if it motivates one person, then we did our job today.
Mm-hmm.
And that would just make me so happy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about, but if it can help somebody, I mean, I think that'd be pretty dang awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it.
yeah. And thank you for talking too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to talk about this stuff. And, you know, you've been very helpful this entire time with this whole transition. So I thank you for that. And it's definitely made everything easier. So,
no, man, it's totally fine. Like I said, I mean, I've just, you know, I feel like it's the right thing to do.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, you know, yeah, it's been good. I mean, and I think it's going to continue to be really fun.
Oh God. Yeah.
And, yeah, like I said, it's motivated me
Yeah.
and it's, like I said, I feel like we talked about in this, the other podcast about shooting our bows a lot.
Yeah.
Seeing you go through the process of getting a new bow.
Yep.
It kind of like, it reignites that fire inside
Yeah.
of me and kind of gets that burning a little brighter and hotter.
Yep.
Because it's, you know, sometimes you kind of feel like you kind of go through the motions.
Yeah.
And so to see that with you, it's like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
And then to see what you go through with the diabetes stuff, it's motivated me not only to be like, you know what, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's get this in. Let's not let this affect you.
Yeah.
But it also has made me appreciate, wow, I've got it pretty dang good.
Right.
In a lot of ways. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, there's no reason to complain.
Mm-hmm.
My pump isn't dinging
Yeah.
at the most inopportune times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's also motivated me to be like, what can I do to help make your life easier?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so I think that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, you just like with all this hunting stuff, like we talked about, all the trophies can burn up.
Yeah.
What it really comes down to is it comes down to your friends, it comes down to your family, it comes down to the memories that you're making out there.
Exactly.
And I feel like this whole thing is the epitome of like what I am all about.
Yeah. Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Working together.
Yep.
Just-
If I don't kill another trophy my entire life, but I get to make some unbelievable memories and share adventures with my friends and family, mission accomplished.
Yep. Exactly.
I will die a happy man.
Yep.
Because that's really for me what it's 1,000% about.
Yep.
And so this is all, it's just kind of funny how this is all kind of worked out and stars have kind of aligned.
Yeah.
That our paths are crossing at this time in life.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
it's kind of wild.
Yep. Yep. And it's, like you said, it's only up from here. We got a lot of cool things coming down the pipeline, and I cannot wait. It's going to be so fun.
We haven't even really talked about this. We pretty much got a secret handshake or like a little thing we do, don't we?
Yeah, but we're keeping that on the low.
Oh, we are?
Do you think we can do it right here?
I don't know. We've got two different versions of it. We've got the normal version, and then we have the...
Oh, yeah.
I like the other version.
I did too.
I like Gen 2.0 personally.
Yeah, that one is sick.
Maybe we'll just save that until something really cool happens.
Maybe standing behind a big bull elk or something.
It doesn't even be a big bull elk. I'll stand behind a doski. I don't care. It could be anything.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
As soon as, dude, if it's brown, it's down. That's what I'm telling you. That's my mantra.
Yep.
If it's brown and it's legal within the season,
Dead.
I'm shooting her or him.
Dead.
Or it.
Dead.
Whatever it is, brown, it's down during hunting seasons.
Yep. So just stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the secret handshake.
Yep. Won't be so secret for long.
Yep. Boom. Dropping it.
Boom.
All right. Another podcast in the books. Like I said, I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
Get out there. Don't let it stop you. Don't let diabetes control your life or whatever else you're working through.
Yep.
Get after it.
Get after it. Just do it. Let's go.
Just do it. Keep hammering. What's the other ones?
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. What does David Goggins say? I don't know what he says, but
run.
Yeah. Run.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Boom.